First take on a Wednesday. Good day. I'm Kellerman. How we doing? Good to see you. Stephen A. from the West Coast. How we feeling?
What's up? What's up? Good morning. How y'all doing?
Killing it on Kimmel last night. I saw you.
Little sun.
Yeah.
Had a good time.
This man belongs in late night. Speaking of that, as Stephen A. obviously was on Kimmel last night, we're going to show you a clip of that later in the show, so don't miss it. We'll react to that as well. But meanwhile, Colin Kaepernick has been the most talked about NFL player this season since his initial protest during the national anthem. Now he has the chance to make headlines for his play on the field and turn around his team's losing 1-4 record. Chip Kelly has named him the starter for Week 6. He'll get his first nod of the season in Buffalo Sunday. Cap, are you ready?
I think I've always been confident. It's something that I'm ready to step on that field. I'm ready to play. It's been about a year since live game action, so I'm itching to get out there. For me, I try to carry myself confidently and appropriately, whatever environment I'm in. And, hopefully that reflects and my teammates feel that way and they feel that I can lead this team to victory. I'm excited to be back out there. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to, be out there with my teammates and fight with them and try to get this win this Sunday. I'm ready.
On the road, as I said earlier, in Buffalo Sunday. Stephen A., would you have made this move to Cap this week?
Absolutely. I wouldn't have hesitated. It should have been done weeks ago. The fact of the matter is Blaine Gabbert, as my former colleague here at ESPN, and my friend Chris Carter religiously said Blaine Gabbert stinks. Now, Blaine Gabbert is on the record saying that the decision stinks, but maybe if he looked at his play and realized that a 65 passer rating combined with the fact that he's 9-31 as a starter, that he's lost 4 straight, that his entire quarterbacking career in the National Football League has been rife with ineptitude, maybe he'd realize how bad he was and wouldn't have a problem with it. Just be happy that you're going to be a backup in the league because chances are you won't play that much. That way people will assume you can still play and you'll still have a job in the NFL rather than being exposed by being put on the field and showing the world how ill-equipped you are to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. So that's my take on that. As it pertains to Kaepernick, this is a decision that should have been made a long time ago because Blaine Gabbert should have never been a starter as far as I'm concerned. I think it was the combination of the contract that Colin Kaepernick had, insuring himself for major dollars in the event of injury, combined with the fact that he was making some noise with the whole protesting of the national anthem and beyond. There's no doubt in my mind that when it comes to Chip Kelly and the San Francisco 49ers, particularly somebody like Trent Baalke, I think all of those, not one individual issue, but all of them, the cumulative impact of it led to Colin Kaepernick sitting out this long. But you are 1-4, and since Trent Baalke obviously sabotaged this franchise by running Jim Harbaugh out of there, and which means that any respectability that they had went right out the door with him, trying to make sure that you don't continue to nosedive, you had to do something. Blaine Gabbert wasn't going to be the answer. And even though it's against the 5th-ranked defense that is the Buffalo Bills, I don't give a damn. Get Colin Kaepernick in there ASAP, quick, fast, and in a hurry. As far as I'm concerned, it's a few weeks too late. He should have been back weeks ago. But if he has to come back this week, even though it's against the Bills, it doesn't bother me at all. It is necessary because nothing was going to get done with Blaine Gabbert.
If you think that Colin Kaepernick is the long-term solution, possibly, for the 49ers, and I do, and I thought Kaepernick should have been starting weeks ago, and we've been talking about that on this show, Stephen A. Smith. But if you believe that Kaepernick is the long-term solution for the 49ers, and I think the 49ers think that's a possibility, which is one of the reasons they hired Chip Kelly. I mean, in the recent past, we've seen Kaepernick do it. Well, what makes you think he can be the long-term solution? He just did it. Took him to a Super Bowl. One throw away from taking him to consecutive Super Bowls.
So what are you saying, Max?
I'll worry about what I'm saying. If you believe...
Well, I'm waiting.
That could... I know you don't talk for 5 straight minutes and then say you're waiting now.
I'm waiting for your answer.
If you believe that Kaepernick can be the solution, then you do not play him against the Buffalo Bills. And the reason you don't play him against the Buffalo Bills is you have to ask yourself, what is your short-term incentive versus what's your long-term incentive?
That is ridiculous.
If the idea is that Chip Kelly and the 49ers believe that we just got to worry about this game, that's the nature of the NFL, let's get him out there, then fine, you start Kaepernick now, even if you get disastrous results. But if you believe that the Niners, when they hired Chip, had a plan for Kaepernick. We can rehabilitate this situation. Let's not forget that the reason Kaepernick started to regress, it seems to me, and to many, is that the Niners had good intentions. Wow, as good as he is now, can he get even better if we change certain things? And the answer was no. He was as good as he was going to get. And you know what? That was plenty good enough. And he has to go back to being that guy. So they hired Chip to do just that. Chip studied him when he was at Nevada. He looked at Kaepernick because he's the kind of quarterback that, Chip wanted to play with. And so now they got him. Now, when they hired Chip, Kaepernick started talking about he wants a trade. Probably lost the locker room at that point. They said he had a dead arm. Probably code for he's hurt. If he's healthy now, and partly as a result of his courageous, in many respects, stance or sit and then knee, in regards to the national anthem, if that helped him rally parts of the locker room now around him and he is ready to play, then great. But don't start him against a team that has hit more quarterbacks than any but 2 in the entire NFL, even if it's on 10 days rest on the road. You want to get them off on the right foot. It's not about this season. The Niners ain't going to the playoffs. They're not good. But if Chip wants to save his job, if Kaepernick wants a career, if the Niners want a franchise quarterback going forward, who, after all, they have contractual obligation to anyway, then you want what's best for Kaepernick and the team over the long haul of this season, not right now. And that is Tampa Bay at home, not Buffalo on the road.
Max Kellerman, the only thing you said there that makes any sense is the fact that you said none of it, actually, other than this one point that I'm about to bring up. If he were not healthy enough. Outside of that, nothing you said makes sense. Sports is about competition. The San Francisco 49ers are losing football games. Blaine Gabbert is your quarterback. If Colin Kaepernick is ready to go, what are you talking about? If Colin Kaepernick is the long-term solution, you don't put him in with the Bills. I'm sorry, one play, one game could ruin anything. You go out there the second that you're ready. Every single week in the NFL, there are only 16 games in the season. Every single week in the NFL, your best players, your best options should be out there if healthy enough to be out there. Period.
You don't sit up there.
The way you sounded, hold on, the way you sounded, it's as if even if Colin Kaepernick were healthy, because he's going up against the Bills, we have to think about our future, our long-range goals, and we certainly don't want to jeopardize the health of Colin Kaepernick, so we're not going to put him out there. That's
the confidence of Kaepernick,
That's asinine.
The confidence of Kaepernick, the enthusiasm of the fan base, the head coach's job. Yes, you are making the mistake that many people.
The enthusiasm of the fan base?
That's right.
Did you mention the fan base and Blaine Gabbert in the same sentence?
How long has Blaine Gabbert been better than Colin Kaepernick? Has he been better than Colin Kaepernick the last couple of weeks?
I don't ever recall him being better than Colin Kaepernick.
But Kaepernick over the last several weeks has been a better option than Blaine Gabbert, and yet he hasn't started. There are more considerations than just the game that week. If that was the only consideration.
How do you know?
Do you think you just said by your own admission you just said that he's the better option than Gabbert over the last several weeks, but he didn't start?
No, I'm talking about the other options that you said was probably being considered. I'm saying, how do you know? Conventional wisdom in the sport of professional football, you put your best players out there, the guys that give you the best chance to win week to week. You don't look towards 8 weeks from now. You don't look towards next season. You look towards every single week.
Some franchises do that don't always make the best decisions. You're making you are confused in the same way many football fans and some franchises are confused. You're confusing the team with the franchise. The team is the current iteration of the franchise. That's this week's game. The franchise is the thing that's still going to be there. And if the franchise thinks that they may have a franchise quarterback who can play for a coach that they just hired to coach this guy, and they think that's a long-term solution, given the fact that we all know the Niners ain't going anywhere this year, make the best choice for the franchise.
How do you know that if you're the 49ers and it's week 3 or it's week 4, whatever the case may be? I'm saying you didn't even need to wait until you were 1-4 to bring Kaepernick in there.
Sure.
He could have been put up in there last week. He could have been put up in there 2 weeks ago, 2 games ago. He said he was ready to go.
Yep.
So we have to look at Chip Kelly, we have to look at Trent Baalke, and we have to question why the delay, why the procrastination, particularly for Blaine Gabbert. It makes absolutely positively no sense, and Max is trying to deduce that it makes sense because you know what? We want to look towards the future, and Colin Kaepernick may very well be our future. This is the same Colin Kaepernick that Chip Kelly and them were trying to trade to Denver, but couldn't work out a deal to get it done.
Kaepernick
Clearly, they didn't
asked
think
for
that way
the
about him.
trade. When they hired Chip Kelly, Kaepernick wanted out. So they started exploring ways to get him out. And when it wasn't going to work because he wasn't going to take a reduction in his contract, which he shouldn't have, he did the right thing, they started realizing, okay, well, I mean, this is the kind of quarterback Chip Kelly needs anyway, but he wasn't ready to play. This predates the anthem protest. He'd lost a lot of weight. He'd switched his diet. They called it a dead arm, which I take for code for something wrong with his throwing arm. Then he got better. He started putting on the weight. Chip said he's still not quite there yet. Okay, now he's there. It's yet is finally here. But it comes against an excellent, hot defense on the road. And what I'm saying is, unless you think you're going to salvage this season in terms of the playoffs, make the right long-term decision.
Why would you not think you got a shot at salvaging your season? Who gives up 5 games in? That's what you're saying. Oh, the season's lost, so why jeopardize his future by playing him against the Buffalo Bills? That is asinine. It's game 6 of the season.
That's right. A one-win team that going in, no one thought was very good anyway, and has so far shown that they are, in fact, not very good.
So they're supposed to think like that.
To make
so they're
the
supposed to say that. So
be realistic.
So according to Max Kellerman, the San Francisco 49ers are supposed to sit up there and go like this. We stink. We're not going anywhere. Our season's over in week 6. So why would we jeopardize our future, Colin, by playing you now? No, we're going to sit you down because we stink. So we'll wait until we got a weak opponent because we're not going to win anyway. So why play? That's your argument.
You know what?
That's your argument.
It's the same thing when Belichick was talking about, hey, the trainers do their jobs. If he's ready to go, I worry about the coaching. That's not exactly true because sometimes a guy's ready to go, but what are the implications if he takes another hit? What's the long-term prognosis versus the short-term prognosis, and the franchise has to weigh all those things in the balance and make a decision. Happens all the time.
Executive Kellerman, I totally don't understand what the hell you're talking about. It makes no sense from a sports competitive standpoint.
A lot of football people would agree with you, and you'd all be wrong.
A lot of football people get fired because they don't know what the hell they're saying, regardless of how they try to sound like that.
Didn't you say Chip Kelly was on the hot seat?
Should be.
All right,
Shouldn't have had the damn
gentlemen.
job.